are an anime podcast.
Yes.
What is the very first anime that got you into being an anime? Got you into anime? Because for me, I think I started off with all of them where I didn't realize that what I was watching was anime until I got older. Grew up watching Pokemon. Didn't realize that was anime. You know, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Kiki's Delivery Service. You know, I
forgot about Kiki's.
Yeah. I'm afraid to rewatch it because I've heard that like it's harder to watch as an adult. The voices are hard, but I absolutely loved it. It's still one of my favorites, so I'm hanging on to that nostalgia. But for me, that was just watching like cartoons growing up. I didn't realize those were animes.
I felt the same way. That's how it was for me as well, growing up.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't know Naruto was also anime until, like, I got into college, and people were like, oh, anime. And I was like, that was just a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't anime.
And then I got older, and I found out, because I've talked about it before, I had an older cousin who got into anime, and she watched things around us, and then I got into it. And then thank God for Adult Swim. Just complete head dive into all of those. So Cowboy Bebop, Trigun.
Inuyasha.
I actually haven't watched Inuyasha.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
I've watched a few.
Yu Yu Hakusho. Man, imagine trying to do the spirit gun in school today. You get kicked out.
Oh.
Is that a weapon? No, it's
my
Yusuke.
literal hand. Now, if it was Parasite, it'd be different.
Parasite's a good one. I enjoyed that a little bit. It's a whole thing. The show, not the movie. Two different things.
Two very, very different things.
Yeah. Naruto got me into anime. Just like Emily, I didn't know that Digimon, Pokemon were anime. I just thought they were cartoons.
Yeah.
And I knew Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon were something
Oh, that was another one. Sailor Moon.
different. Like, I couldn't explain how, even though Sailor Moon and DBZ like pioneered a market for kids to get into anime. But like seeing Goku get his shit beat in and him bleeding, I was like, this is different from like Pokemon. Like, I just saw Pikachu get clapped by Onyx and Pikachu's up and fine. I don't understand. Something's different about this. And Sailor Moon just, I don't know. I liked it. I just liked it. Plus the opener was crazy. Fighting evil by moonlight. Banger.
100%. Still to this day, completely holds up.
Absolutely.
Banger.
But I'm basically the same as the two of you. It's like, I couldn't tell the difference between, I know what anime was until probably around the time I started coming off of like cartoons in general. But it's like, you could tell like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu Yu Hakusho, all of those. It's like, this is a little different from the other shows I watch. What is it? And then you finally figure it out. And you're like, oh, but it's like at that point, it was when I was starting to wane off everything. So
For me, I didn't really realize there was a huge difference of it until I was like in middle school, and I realized that other people weren't watching what I was watching and being ostracized for it. Like, I know I've talked about it before, but like was horribly bullied by my old friends, you know, was the weird kid who watched that. And I realized I'm like, oh, so this is different. It's not just cartoons. And then being like, but these are just such an amazing storytelling that you can get so much better than any TV show. I will fight and die on that hill. Rivendell can suck it. Any anime is better than that. Like, that's where I'm at. So I'm
I
like,
don't even know what that is.
You're not on the internet enough. It's okay.
yeah. So I'm just like, so realizing that's different, I'm like, okay, cool. This is where I'm at now. My lot in life.
The best part about anime is like 90% of all media in any genre anywhere is trash. But with
Absolutely.
anime, you can at least pick it out real fast. Like, there are so many live action shows. I can see the first episode and I'm like, oh, we in here. And then episode 2 and I'm like, what happened to the original plot of the movie?
I can tell you other people are pissed about that because like we were talking about what got us into it. I loved Winx Club growing up. I thought it was so cool, but I can tell that's a cartoon comparative to animes. And Winx Club was one of those things that became live action. Everyone's like so excited. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. They turned it into another Rivendell. And we're like, this isn't it. It's a knockoff. This isn't what we wanted. So
Shame. I hate
further proof, live
Do you
actions
think-
don't suck.
Okay. Yeah, Naruto got me into anime because just seeing a bunch of characters have their own unique powers was cool. Like me, I could project myself pretty easy into the characters because growing up, I didn't think I was particularly good at anything. So to see all these characters where Naruto wasn't just great displays of power in the early ones, it was just who could use what they knew better than their opponent could use theirs. So to see Kakashi versus Zabuza, who have two very different fighting styles, go at it was just, even though we're on the bridge for 30 episodes, it was still great.
Favorite arc ever.
The Sasuke Retrieval Arc has entered the chat because that one, because I will say I watched Naruto faithfully, but like when that arc happened, I was full in. That's where boys became men, and I'm like, this might be I'm gonna do a YouTube video, and it's gonna be from good to great. Like that scene, that moment, that arc that made a show that was pretty okay go to like next level. I think the Sasuke Retrieval Arc for Naruto was that arc.
Yeah.
Because they were just like, oh, we're not holding your hand no more. And Naruto died like 4 times.
Straight up like, oh, you wanted warm and fuzzies? Those died a couple episodes ago.
Choji became a man. Kiba was getting his shit pushed in. Shikamaru was a monster. It's great. It was great. But speaking of, you brought us something up, Emily. Do you think live action anime can ever like work? I don't think it can. And I think we should just stop trying.
Honestly, yeah. I remembered as a kid, the only one that I've ever seen that came close to, and I had to suspend so much reality for it, was the live action Death Note that came out. It was a movie that was done somewhere in the early thousands. And it was the only one where I was like, it stuck the closest to it of like, okay, obviously they changed things because they made an 1.5-hour movie. It was the only one where I'm like, all right, this is close. Every other live action, absolutely not. It has not been close. It has been awful. I'm not here for it. Some things just don't go to screen well.
I concur.
I haven't watched any live actions. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not interested in any of them.
No, Death Note is probably one of like the few anime that could get an adaptation. Because I think Death Note is like the perfect anime to like recommend to somebody because it has that perfect blend of like what anime is about with just the dramatic camera shots. Like I'll take a potato chip and eat it. And plus like the premise is, oh, if I write somebody's name in this notebook, they die of a heart attack in 40 seconds. That's easy to like come across and to just figure out. So it's not like some other animes where like, so he's the most powerful man in the universe and he's still in high school and he fights with like a flip-flop? I don't understand.
I saw, speaking of that, my Twitter has just been full of like, maybe it's like, is it just me or like not being able to understand powers in Jujutsu Kaisen is just, I just don't get it. They're so complicated. And then somebody retweeted that and went, guys, I've just learned the powers and how they work aren't the confusing part. I just don't know how to fucking read. Like when you guys catch up with the manga, they're explaining this fight that's going on and this guy's explaining his powers and how they work and his domain expansion. And I'm just like, sure, I don't know how to read. I know some of these words.
I know some of these words. Yeah. Jujutsu Kaisen, speaking of, since we're already on anime that got you into anime, Jujutsu Kaisen pulled me back. I was taking a break from anime for like a little bit, and then I saw this, and I was talking to my coworkers about Jujutsu Kaisen. And the best part about it is that like I can see the influences of JJK like everywhere. Like I could see definitely like the Hunter x Hunter and the Naruto that's in it. But like it did it right where you can tell it's inspired by a thing, but like it crafts it into uniquely its own thing. Like Gojo is just Kakashi in a different font.
Yes.
Like Itadori is just Naruto.
I like,
but like they do it in such a way where it's just like, yeah, and Gojo and Kakashi aren't the same person. You're like, yeah, I can see that.
I saw one, it was a TikTok and somebody was doing the conversations between Kakashi and Gojo and Megami and Sasuke. Like their equals are matching up, and it was Sakura and like Nobara are talking, and Sakura's like, "You're not in love with them?" She goes, "Ew, God, no." And then it was like Ichidori and Naruto like vibing, having the best time ever, and then Sasuke is like, "Wait, so he's your rival?" Like, "No, man, he's my best friend. Like, we're good." He goes, "Wait, you don't want to kill him?" It's like, "No, he's not. He's my, like, he's fine." And the last one was like Gojo showing up, being like, "Hey, Kakashi!"
Yes.
Kakashi just be like, seriously.
I can't stand Gojo.
Why?
It's a respect hate because imagine just getting bodied by somebody and he pulls his mask off and he has the prettiest eyes you ever fucking seen in your life.
Beautiful.
Well, that's what. That was another thing.
I'd be mad as shit if I'm boxing.
I've seen that clip of that
I'm
show.
mad
It's
as
like,
shit.
why is he so beautiful?
Exactly.
Well-
You boxing somebody, you're fighting for your life, and he's just laughing like, ha ha ha. You're
What if
weak,
that's,
and
like,
pulls
really
his
one of
mask
his-
down? I'm like, go fuck yourself.
What if
dog.
that's really one of his powers? Like, it's not infinite. It's not like he's been a prodigy since he was a kid to be the most powerful sorcerer in the world. He just straight up, everyone is just so distracted by his eyes. That's what gets them beat.
Yeah, JJK is just like 90% staying alive until Gojo shows up.
Well, it's funny. I saw
Yeah.
somebody else talking.
Yeah, right?
And it's literally that.
like Gojo's gonna get here. That's that Dragon Ball Z reference because everybody just stays alive till Goku shows up, and barely do that.
I'm just being quiet.
So
and the
many
only-
motherfuckers die in Dragon Ball Z. Death has no consequence in that show.
No.
But yeah, JJK kind of brought me back because it's very unique. Like, however you feel about it, it's very much its own show. Like a lot of shows, they see what is good, what people are vibing to, and they just recreate that. Like, I don't know how much you guys know, but like SAO, big is huge, for better or worse. We're not talking about it, not today. But like then within the next couple of years, there's like 50 different SAOs that are like, let's just do the cute girls and see what happens. Or let's have the video game you're stuck in and see what happens. So for JJK, it was pretty refreshing. So
And it takes like a different, I like the approach of it too, because I was struggling a bit watching animes where it's like, okay, obviously they're young kids and they're supposed to be these most powerful beings ever. And I still struggle to this day. And it's a huge meme in the community of like some 50-year-old dude who's been working his entire life to get his power. And then it's like some 12-year-old just beats the shit out of him. Hunter x Hunter comes to mind immediately. But I like in Jujutsu Kaisen, it actually like shows of like, hey, no, this is the first years. This is how they actually go. They're not overpowered right away. Like, yes, Ichidora is like super strong when he gets his things, but they're not OP immediately. And explains the whole society and how they work.
He gets knocked out by a cute little stuffed bear.
That bear is the
He gets getting knocked out.
best thing in existence. And Panda, love him. Nobody likes pandas.
I love Pan. Oh,
sometimes it's nice to take a break from the things you love. You know, you don't want to get burned out on anime. Like I've wanted to do for so long, just a show where I break down every show that comes out in a season. You would need a whole year to do that. I don't know how people come up with their seasonal rankings. It's like 50 shows come out a season.
I truly don't believe those people actually watch it all the way through. I feel like they watch 4 or 5 episodes and then like get links from somebody else. Because like you said, that is an entire job in and of itself.
I follow you. And then be like, oh, I read this manga. And I'm like, no, you fucking didn't.
As somebody who binged all of like GGK in 4 days, you can't just do that. And I was recovering from surgery, so I had nothing else to do. It was just 4 days straight on the couch reading.
if you don't like high schoolers acting like they're older, then you don't like Tokyo Revengers, right?
I tried so hard to watch Tokyo Revengers. I tried so hard because so many of my mutuals absolutely love them. And I thought, I'm like, okay, I love their taste. I have restarted the first season 4 or 5 times. I tried, but yeah, it turns into the thing. I'm like, I can't get into a 15-year-old being able to do all of this shit. I can't.
Like they're gangsters.
Like
They are gangsters.
Here's
is
what
the way
broke
to
me.
put it.
Here's how it broke me. When you get introduced to Dragon,
Yeah.
and he has the full dragon tattoo and all of this. I'm like, at 15, get fucked. That literally, honestly, that was the breaking point for me. I was like, I can't. I know this was probably a great story. Like I said, I have so many mutuals who absolutely love that, and I cannot do it.
Because it's not a birthmark.
No, it's not.
And it's not one of those, stick, peel, get wet, stick to your head.
And it's also them beating the shit out of people while still wearing flip-flops. Like, that's another thing. I'm like, those were weirdly the things that took me out of that one.
And kids are killing each other in middle school.
Yes, and don't get me wrong, I know the girl gangs are huge, and, like, some gang stuff is a thing, but to be that organized at, like, 13 and 12, I know it happens in real life, but I can't.
Anime is made for high schoolers.
I know, and it's hard as a
Yeah.
30-year-old to watch that.
I know. I get it. Just, I know, some things, like, they're made for high schoolers because that's when most kids have disposable income and no bills, and they can just be like, yeah, I'm going to buy a couple volumes today.
Yep.
So, I mean, some kid wants to be a Yakuza.
I mean, go for it.
Yakuza.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't have the BL community come after me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end you.
You're throwing me off over there with that word.
Whatever. It make my pod numbers go up. So, speaking of a lot, did anybody say a lot? I don't think so. My transitions are horrible. I'm out of pod shape.
Dylan,
So-
what actually got you back into anime? I don't think you.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
The
Well, we
year
never
was
actually answered,
2018.
but. Wow.
4 years
Children, come close. We're gonna tell you a story now.
Yes.
Get your blankies.
Here, yay.
Proclamation
Just see
of
a powdered wig drop on
1812.
my head.
Hold up the Pinky Blinders.
Get
I
your
have a
cuties.
story to tell.
My dad's obsessed with that show, by the way.
It is a great show.
And everything.
it is
I'm like, bro.
Great show. One of my favorite lines. Why? Why? Because we fucking can. If we fucking can, we do it.
I came downstairs
Sorry,
to the episode. I'm like, you good, Dad? What you watching?
Love it.
Angry.
No.
Fucking fighting.
Get the fuck off me. So, Pinky Blinders pod.
Transition. The clothes start transforming. I would say between when I stopped watching versus 2018, like, I mean, I kept track of animes. I looked what happened, all that. I'm like,
Nobody
okay.
actually really gets out of anime.
Yeah, you just keep track. You just don't focus as much because, I mean, same situation there. It's like I grew up in a small town. Anime is like, what? That's the witch's work. What you mean? Why are you watching that garbage?
That's exactly what I heard through.
But no, I was visiting a mutual friend, and he's like, "Have you seen the show?" And he pulls up Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and 5 episodes in, I'm like, I am watching this. And he's like, all right. We literally spent an entire weekend. We just got through half of it. And then I watched the rest of it over time. I'm like, all right, well, let's see what else is out in this world. But by the time that I did this, I believe Demon Slayer just started coming out. Or just got dropped. The first season dropped or something when I finally wrapped up.
Demon Slayer.
But like, I'm like, what's this? Okay. I watched the first episode and I'm just...
Side note, I've talked about this with other groups, and I know if we've talked about it. Demon Slayer has the best fight animations and the most beautiful cinematography when it comes to fighting, and I will fucking die on that hill.
These two haven't
No.
seen season 2 yet.
I know.
They
I know.
mentioned that to me, and I wanted to strangle both of them.
No, I told them. I was like, hey, have you watched?
With love, of course.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
naturally.
Oh, it's always out of love.
If we're going to do the top animation and fight choreography, the be all end all is Soul Eater.
Which is the anime that got me back into anime.
I do love Sid. Yeah.
Soul, like Demon Slayer and Soul Eater can be 1A, 1B, but like Soul Eater is top for choreography.
Absolutely.
If you want to
Yes.
go animation quality, I could go Demon Slayer because Demon Slayer probably had a bigger budget.
Absolutely.
But like
it
in
did.
terms of choreography, like Soul Eater stands alone and it's not close. I'm gonna let you finish. We don't have to argue about this.
But yeah, that first episode, Demon Slayer, I'm like, oh, yep, and binge watch the whole first season because good God, that show.
so good.
So good.
So
And I'm sorry, I'm just still bitter that you two haven't watched season 2 yet.
no, I know,
okay.
because talking about season 2, because you guys haven't seen it yet. So my cousin Ann and I, we watch it together, and we were watching it when it was coming out on Hulu. So it was Demon Slayer is one of literally the only animes that I will watch episode and episode when it comes out. Everything else, I wait for the season to be done, either binge it one weekend or wait like 6 weeks. Like the newest season of My Hero, I'll watch before the new one comes out.
Still need to catch up, but we can ignore that.
But I remember there was one of the episodes where we thought everything was going to go bad in season 2, and we had to wait. We just, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say anything because obviously you guys haven't seen it. And Anna and I screamed so loudly on our couch. Like at one point I went from cross-legged holding onto her because she and I would grab onto each other. And like and next thing too, I'm standing too on my couch. Like when I was screaming in Mario Party, I'm standing like this freaking out. Anna's like on the, like standing up too. And our dogs are just staring at us like, moms. What's going on? Like,
Get down, please. This is not what you do.
like Phoebe is hiding next to Luna, and they're both like, what? They're looking at each other, like trying to figure out, because it was, and then we had to wait. And I think it was the one where there's like a 2-week break, and we're like,
the cliffhanger episode.
Yes, we're just like, this is fine.
No, the best part is that episode came out when I was living with said mutual friend. He had work the day it came out, and I'm just freaking out. I literally call him. He's like, everything good? I'm like, watch this episode when you come home, please.
We need to talk.
Like, I have to discuss. Because I'm like, I'm alone for 10 hours, you son of a bitch.
Love it.
But God, oh.
That was me reading, actually, the My Hero Academia manga. And I was reading the War Arc, and, like, I don't think I blinked for, like, a good 6 hours. I was at Ashley's mother's house, and Ashley thought I was hiding in the bedroom. And I'm like, no, it's just me in the fetal position, just flipping through my phone.
That's,
And then when they showed up the My Hero trader, the creator, he's such a dick, by the way, when he did this. It was a week break. He did the red herring, so it was the person that we all thought was the traitor. 2-week break, brought out the real traitor, 1 week break.
Yep.
He stretched this to a 5-week thing. Oh. The fandom was going nuts. We were in Reddit forums going nuts.
Between me literally watching it happen on Twitter to all my mutuals losing it, and then your text messages of just devolving, chef's kiss.
It wasn't Kirishima, nor was it Kaminari, so I was already upset. He beat the allegations, and I was not happy.
That's how I felt when I was reading the next arc, which is going to be season 2 for Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't think I breathed the entire time, and I binged the 100 chapters in like an hour. I read it in like a speed, and I was not okay. And our mutual friend Jessie, she was on the couch. And I was laying on the floor because I just hurt at this time. And she just hears me go, oh. And then I just start crying. And she just goes, can I ask? And I went, no. She goes, was it one of your favorites? I went, yes.
You may ask. I will not answer.
And so then we were rewatching it again because her girlfriend hadn't seen it. And so I just like made a noise. And she goes, I was like, to be fair, I have 30 favorites. It's pretty much the entire. You know how you have when you ask Haikyuu what your favorite character is, you say Haikyuu. I'm pretty much like that with Jujutsu Kaisen. Like honestly, I have like my top 3, but then the rest is I just love them all. So it hurts, but we're just waiting.